Welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake and I'm here with the 2023 Jeep Grand Wagoneer L. I first drove this vehicle in 2022 and compared to its rivals, the Cadillac Escalade and the Lincoln Navigator, I honestly wasn't that impressed. I really didn't love the 6.4 liter V8 engine. I thought it was a little too rowdy for this kind of vehicle, and I just didn't think the whole vehicle was that cohesive as a result. It also didn't offer a long wheelbase model like the Cadillac Escalade ESV or the Lincoln Navigator L. Now for 2023, Jeep has made two changes to this Grand Wagoneer that bring it more in line with what I was expecting in its first model year. So let's talk about what those two changes are, what they mean for the Wagoneer lineup, and then because this vehicle is rated to tow so much, it is of course body on frame, it's rated to pull nearly 10,000 pounds, we're gonna hook up my enclosed trailer and tow with it to see how it is to tow with. All right, so starting off here, what is the biggest difference with the Jeep Grand Wagoneer L? Well, the Grand Wagoneer L stands for long, and it is longer. For all you size queens out here, we have an extra 12 inches of overall length going on. It's an extra 7 inches of wheelbase between your rear and front axles, and all of that extra 12 inches is going to be applied right back here to the cargo area. So in the regular wheelbase Grand Wagoneer and its Wagoneer sibling, you really didn't have a lot of cargo space behind the third row, but if you look here behind the third row of the Grand Wagoneer L, you get all this cargo space. This is actually useful cargo space, much like you get in an Escalade ESV or a Lincoln Navigator L. So very nice to have all this extra length, and passenger room is of course not really compromised by that. You do get all of your extra room. If you climb in here, you still have all of your leg room in the third row and all of your space in the second row and first row. So I'll take you on a little tour of the rest of the interior in just a second, but that is one of the two big differences with this model, is all this extra cargo room. And then if we pop the hood here of the Grand Wagoneer L, the other big difference is under hood. Of course, the 6.4 liter Hemi V8 is gone. You'll see twin turbo right here. It has been replaced by the Hurricane 3 liter inline 6-cylinder. This one, being the Grand Wagoneer, is the Hurricane 3 liter high output, which is good for 510 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. Now that is paired to an 8-speed ZF Chrysler torque converter automatic transmission and standard 4-wheel drive with low range. Now a quick note on the third row of the Grand Wagoneer L. I'm sitting in here, I'm 6'1", and I am actually very comfortable. I've got headroom. The back seat does recline. You've got buttons right here so you can mess with the recline of your seat back. And then of course the second row passengers can also recline their seats. This one is obviously cranked up a little bit. It can come further back if you look at how this one is set. But either way, this is a very comfortable back seat, and they've thought about the back seat passengers. They haven't really, ignored you if you're sitting all the way back here. So it's not like a penalty box. You've got USB ports for charging right here. You've got an air vent. You've got a cup holder. It's all quite nice. You've got, a leather wrapped, or probably vinyl wrapped, let's be real, armrest going on, and then a nice giant window. And then you've also got your own sunroof up here, which is really cool. So it's really nice that they actually think about these things. And then, the whole point of having the Grand Wagoneer L means you get all that cargo room back there. So you could put 6 grown adults in this and take a road trip. You can all fit with all your stuff. And that, I think, is really something nice. So is this worth having over the regular Grand Wagoneer that is shorter? Yeah, I think if you're gonna be carrying a lot of people and a lot of stuff frequently, this is the move, because otherwise what are you gonna do? Get a roof box? Like, who wants that? So that's a really, really big deal on top of the extra stability that you get with towing. Now I've mentioned Grand Wagoneer and then I mentioned Wagoneer, so what's going on here? You've basically got 4 models of the same truck. So you have Wagoneer and Wagoneer L, Grand Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer L. I'm gonna put this in GM SUV terms because it might make it easier to understand. Wagoneer competes with something like the Chevy Tahoe. It is a shorter wheelbase, shorter overall length, and it is not considered super premium. Wagoneer L is like a Chevy Suburban, same sort of vehicle, longer. Grand Wagoneer goes into that Cadillac Escalade territory. It is considered the, ultra high-end, premium, very luxurious model, and then the Grand Wagoneer L is that, but again, longer. So there are your 4 models. That is what's different. If you see them on the road, the easy way to tell if it's a Grand or a regular Wagoneer is by the window trim. The regular Wagoneers have black outlines around the window trim, whereas the Grands all have this chrome going on around each window. I'm hiding inside the truck because it is a very windy day, but as far as what's going on with towing with these, the regular Wagoneer is rated to tow 10,000 pounds. The Grand Wagoneer is rated to tow a little bit less, despite having a higher output version of the same engine. And that is because your overall payload and everything is going to be less, given the Grand Wagoneers have more equipment, and thus they can't, pull as much with the same gross vehicle weight rating because all the equipment weighs more overall. So Grand Wagoneers are rated to pull 9,450 pounds, and then if you want that extra tow rating, you have to get a regular Wagoneer to get to 10,000. But for most people, 9,000 pounds or so is quite a bit. We're towing my enclosed trailer today, which is a 20-foot aluminum enclosed trailer that weighs right about 7,000 pounds. Now, we also have to talk about payload with any sort of vehicle that's going to be towing. Payload is the allowable weight of passengers and cargo, and that also includes your tongue weight of a trailer if you're hooking up a trailer on the hitch. So the way you check that is to open your driver's door and look at the payload that is listed on the door jamb sticker. So if we get back out into the wind, take a look here. It's going to be right here. And it says that I'm being interrupted by helicopters. Hello. All right, well, that might be the president, or I don't know who's flying in, but this is the perks of filming in Washington, D.C. Anyway, back to payload. Looking right here, the maximum combined weight of occupants and cargo should never exceed 1,217 pounds. That is not a lot. That was the biggest benefit of vehicles like the Ford Excursion, is that you could have a lot of weight in them and they could tow a lot because they were on a heavier duty chassis. 1,200 pounds, it kind of is what it is. If you want to have a higher payload capacity, you will need to get a Wagoneer versus a Grand Wagoneer because less standard equipment, less overall weight, the payload can go up. As is important with any vehicle that you're looking at, you need to check the door jamb sticker of the one that you're buying, because you cannot look at a blanket statement to say, oh, this is what the payload is, and just assume that you're within your payload specs. All right, so let's talk about driving and towing with the 2023 Grand Wagoneer L with this new Hurricane inline 6-cylinder. So first things first, the engine itself. This is a really good upgrade over last year's 6.4 liter V8. I was really hoping for something like this because the 6.4 just was not the move. But getting on the interstate here, there is plenty of power and it sounds good too. There's perhaps no better engine sound to me than a good inline 6 wound out to red line. Now, the issue here is that this thing makes peak power at 5,700 RPM, and it makes peak torque at 3,500. So you do still have to rev it, despite having the two turbochargers. It's not, making all of its power and torque way down low. 510 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque is plenty. This thing will scoot unloaded if you really put your foot in it. With the trailer on the highway here, there is something I don't like, and that is even with tow mode turned on, the button is down here, even with tow mode turned on, they're relying a lot on the turbos. So all that to say, if you're, right now I'm going up the teeniest little grade, I'm gonna lose a little speed. If I put my foot into it, it's very reluctant to downshift out of 7th or 8th gear. So you have to really put your foot into it, and then, oh, there's 6th, but there's 5th. We needed 5th, okay. And it just takes too long. It's really frustrating because, you shouldn't have to do that. The tow mode in particular should be better optimized to drop gears quicker, get you into the meat of that power band. The other thing that it doesn't really do that I wish it did in tow mode is there's not a lot of automatic downshifting for engine braking. I wish it would do more of it. The drivetrain is good for towing. It's got plenty of power and torque, but the tuning of it I don't think is quite there. Now on the flip side, I'm very comfortable in this Grand Wagoneer L. The seating position is fantastic. This is clearly a vehicle designed, for tall people. If you are a tall people, I've got phenomenal, thigh support with the rollout leg bolster down here. The seat is very comfortable. You've got all these adjustments on this lower screen. Good visibility. The dash is nice and low. The window sills are low, and the windows themselves are fairly tall. Just by the virtue of the shape of the vehicle. So Everything I think is good from like a visibility perspective. I have a good commanding view of the road, so I really like the driving position. The Macintosh sound system in this one, it's got that 23 speaker high-end Macintosh system. It's also very, very good. So as far as like a place to spend a lot of hours towing, this is a really nice place to sit. I like the layout of everything in that regard. And then this being the Grand Wagoneer L, it's got that extra 7 inches of wheelbase, which gives you a total of 130 inches, like I mentioned, and that is really nice for adding some stability. I'm towing on a very windy day, and everything feels really good. It's easily controllable. You know, the trailer is getting blown around a little bit because it's windy, not because I don't have enough truck to pull it. So that is really great, and that combines with the 4-corner air suspension to just keep everything nicely in check. I think this Grand Wagoneer L rides really well, both unloaded and with the trailer on the back. You know, the ride quality is a very good thing. One thing we have to talk about is the trailer lighting situation, because I have towed this exact trailer with so many trucks and SUVs over the last 3 or 4 years. I have towed it with just almost everything you can think of. I have never had an issue with my trailer lights, except with both Grand Wagoneers I have towed with. I have towed with this one today, and I towed with a short wheelbase Grand Wagoneer 2022 model year at the start of 2022. And in both cases, I do not have working running lights. The Grand Wagoneer will tell me there's a connection error, the lights are out. Indeed they are. I have brake lights, I have turn signals, I have reverse lights, I have power to the trailer, I have power to the brakes. Everything works but the running lights. I do not know why. I have reached out to Stellantis. Unfortunately, did not hear anything in time for this video. I just don't know why. And you know, this is not some new fancy trailer with LED lights or anything. It's a 20-year-old trailer that's got regular incandescent bulbs everywhere, and they work with every other tow vehicle I have ever used. And it's just surprising and a little irritating that, you know, for whatever reason, it doesn't work here. You start the truck, you turn the headlights on, and you see the briefest flash, and it just won't keep them on. And the strange thing about this whole lighting situation is that the Grand Wagoneer is based sort of on a Ram 1500 chassis. I have towed this trailer with so many Rams, 1500s and 2500s, new ones, old ones, never had an issue with lighting there or any electrics with trailers there. So just a strange little thing. If you're looking to buy one of these to tow with, you need to drive it to wherever your trailer is and hook it up and make sure your lights work, because I cannot tell you how irritated I would be if I bought a $107,000 fancy SUV to tow my trailer and then found out that something wouldn't work right. So, oh, good job, Highlander. Yeah, cut off the person in the trailer. That's smart. Good, yeah. Oof. I-95 is wild. It's the Wild West. It's, well, the Wild South. We're going south, but either way. Okay, other things with the Grand Wagoneer L that I love and that I don't love. The thing that I really don't love is how many screens there are in here. This is a problem that is spreading throughout the entire automotive industry, in which manufacturers think that screens are the answer to everything. And in this case, I don't have as many screens as I could in this Grand Wagoneer, but I have a screen for my gauges, I have a screen for my infotainment, I have a screen for the seat controls. I could have a screen in front of the passenger for some reason, and then I have a screen between the two captain's chairs in the second row for them to control whatever with their seats and climate control and all that. And then this truck has the optional rear entertainment package, so there's two 10-inch screens on the backs of the front seats for the second row passengers. Why do we need all these pixels? Who's asking for this? Is anyone? What? All it serves to do is make everything more distracting at night. You've got so many different things lit up. I can also have the mirror turned into a screen, which is useless with a trailer because you just see the trailer, but some of this is used well. You know, the infotainment screen, this is Uconnect 5. It runs, this is great. Uconnect 5 is wonderful. I generally loathe these screens that are, you know, down here. Audi does this too, where they've replaced buttons and knobs with just another screen to control your seats and your climate control and whatever. In this case, it's a pretty decent implementation, and you can also hit this button and it will actually hide itself, which is also nice. At least you can turn that one off and put it away. And like I said, this is not just a Stellantis thing, it's not just a Grand Wagoneer thing, but I think the Grand Wagoneer is a particularly egregious example of it. General feelings on this Grand Wagoneer, I mean, I realize I'm currently driving down the interstate in total comfort with my massaging seat turned on, and I had the heat turned on, but it was too much, and I'm sitting here complaining about a $107,000 car. But I think this, the Hurricane engine is a drastic upgrade over the 6.4. It fits the character of this truck so much better than the 6.4 did. The 6.4 was way too rowdy, way too something that didn't fit with the, you know, the high-end luxury body-on-frame SUVs like the Lincoln Navigator and the Cadillac Escalade that this competes against. So the engine upgrade is fantastic, very much needed. It does not need more power or torque. It needs a retune of the tow haul mode. Other than that, it pairs nicely to the transmission, to the, you know, the entire all-wheel drive system. The whole drivetrain is very good. The comfort in here is great. The visibility in here is very good for this type of vehicle. I think there's just little things that I would prefer be a little different, but the good news is a lot of it could be fixed with some software tweaks. So, all right, and that is it for this review of the 2023 Jeep Grand Wagoneer L. Thank you so much for coming along. As always, please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe right here on YouTube. Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Out Motorsports, and head over to outmotorsports.com if you want to check out the events we've got going on, both in person and online, with your fellow LGBT automotive enthusiasts. Till next time, please stay safe, be well. See you again soon.